it going, everybody? Welcome to Confined Space. By my side, I have Anthony Romero. Say hello.
Hello, my name is Anthony Romero.
And I'm Juan Cordero. It kind of rhymes. But today, we're not doing a review. Today, we're doing a topic. We kind of want to bring something more different than just simple reviews. We're going to have more streaming reviews for the short platform, which is YouTube Shorts, TikTok, and IGTV. But since we're in the realm of that streaming, today's topic is a little different. It's going to be about Netflix overrated and underrated, but mostly in the sense of underrated in the form of what we really enjoyed or what we would have loved to see at the movie theaters as a wider release and not like a selective
Mhm.
release
Yeah.
that they do. And overrated in the sense of where we thought it wasn't a good movie and it's perfect where it's at, or it's just simply just not a good movie at all by any means necessary. So we're gonna try to bring more content besides just reviews. At least we're gonna try to bring the newer releases as quick as possible. We both have jobs, and we're trying to get free passes for movies, hopefully in the future. Hopefully,
Hopefully.
send me
That'd
screeners.
be sick. After working our 10-hour shift.
Exactly, and then we can have reviews up faster for the audience. And the reason why we want to do topics is because me and Anthony on a day job we like to talk about movies, and some topics are interesting, and some topics are
Yeah.
at least I the questions that we ask each other. I don't feel like I hear them a lot in films. I feel or like in podcasts or content. I feel like we just hear them like behind closed
We
doors.
come up with some pretty interesting questions sometimes,
Yeah. So
for sure.
today, like I said, today is the Netflix overrated, underrated. Should we start with the underrated?
Sure, like the ones that we want to see in the cinema.
Yeah, or should we start with the
Yeah.
most worst ones that we did not like at all?
We could start with the underrated. I'm cool
Okay.
with
I have about five ish, a little bit more. I kind of cheated, but I'll explain why I cheated. I don't know who
that.
wants to go first, you or me.
Yeah. I could start.
Okay.
I only have five, so
Okay.
but I'll start. Should we just do like my five, your five, and then my four, your four?
Yeah, that sounds good.
Okay. So my five, for sure, is the Mitchells versus the Machines.
Yes.
I think that would have been a really fun one to see in theaters. I also think it kind of would have been a great thing for Sony because I feel like this one did fly under the radar a lot because a lot of people didn't hear about it on Netflix.
Yeah.
But with something like Into the Spider Verse and then this kind of following up right after it or closely right after it,
Yeah.
um, I think it would have been like a good back to back in theaters, especially with how different this movie is compared to like all their other like garbage
Yeah.
because their batting average is not great and
Emoji movie.
you know well
That's theirs.
so that's when I would have rather been dumped onto streaming than be put into a theater. But I know like a lot of these picks too are like during COVID, so I'm sure they
Yeah.
it's a little harder. But man, I would have loved to see it Mitchell's versus Machine for sure in theaters. It's your number five.
Okay. It's a good choice. My number five, I'm gonna go with underrated in the sense of like I'm a big fan of Michael Bay and his Six Underground. I mean, but
Okay,
as a guilty pleasure, I think
sure.
it's one of his strongest movie. I think his batting average after his last Transformers has been really decent. Where Six Underground and recently Ambulance are Michael Bayism, but he's starting to at least pay more attention to his characters and tell a story, even though it still goes all over the
Mhm.
place and it's still, Bayham. But I like it that it's Bayham, but at his best, and he's starting to be shocking and have good actors portray better roles, and then having fun at the same time. And I mean, there's not much to say. I think it. I mean, it is long, but I think the set pieces are really wellly done. The action, the surprise. It's one of the Ryan Reynolds movies recently that's not annoying. It's kind of fun. But it goes with the like you can tell like Ryan Reynolds wants to be his hyped up, hyperactive version of himself, but he's kind of overshadowed by Michael Bay. But yeah, but that's my number
They're both
five.
competing with egos.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I mean his movies are kind of interesting to watch on like a big screen anyways. So
Yeah,
like like those Transformers movies, like I feel like I wouldn't want to watch it on my TV. I'd rather watch it on a
you don't get they
big
look
old screen.
cheaper on TV. All right, well, that's number five. What's your number four?
So my number four, which um, you know, it's not bad on streaming. I don't really mind it, but I just would have liked to go to a theater to watch it. Is I'm thinking of ending things. I
Okay.
think that I don't. I'm not necessarily mad that it's on streaming, and that's not saying streaming is like a bad platform. I think there's a lot of good things that are just put on streaming that are nice and stuff, whatever. But I do think that I'm thinking of ending things is one of Kaufman's most like interesting films.
Yeah.
In my opinion, I think Anomalisa is great. I still haven't seen Synecdoche, so that kind of sucks. But I would love to be in the theater, confused out of my head, and being
Yeah.
like, enthralled into the. I don't even know if that's a word, but into like the spectacle of it because it's so. I don't want to say grand, but so mysterious, and I don't know. I just love that movie.
And
So
it came out right after Hereditary, and I think it could have
yeah,
cashed in because it does have a very Hereditary-ish feel. But I
it
do
has
also,
that vibe.
I think it. I was about to put it on my list, but I think one of the issue is that it is so weird that I could see the general audience be put off by it, or
Mhm.
people
It
walking
would have
out.
gotten a lot worse reviews for sure.
But yeah, I mean, I was about to pick that, but I
Yeah.
kind of got put off by it because I
No, I
started
agree with that.
thinking,
Yeah.
like it is a little bit like hard to watch, but it would have
Well,
been like a treat to watch also.
yeah. Well, what's your next? What's your
Uh,
number four?
my number four, I mean, I'll probably go in the same route. It's kind of a more like obscure, like avant-garde type of film, but I think with the big cast and the subject matter, it came out kind of at the right time, but kind of at a time where Netflix didn't know how to promote their movies well. And it's Okja about the
Oh, okay.
I
The
think it's a
Bong
good
Joon-ho
looking
one.
film. Yeah, the
Okay.
one who did the guy who did Snowpiercer. I think it's a good looking
Parasite.
film. Yeah, I think it's a very good
Yeah.
looking film. It has a very great cast. And I think it's one of those where it could have been like I'm thinking of anything where it would have been kind of like by the end it slows down and become more metaphorical, more about something. But I think that one would have worked. I mean, in the time where we love seeing CGI animals, and it came out a little bit before Lion King, it could have
Hmm.
benefit, especially with Jake Gyllenhaal, Pardano. I think it would have been a good crowd pleaser to watch, but it is a hard film to sell. But this is more of like what we would have loved to see.
Hmm.
What's your number three?
So number three is one that I think I'm pretty sure is going to be on both of our lists.
Hmm.
Um, and if not, then I'll be surprised. But I'm pretty sure it will be.
I did forget a lot
But
of these.
it has to be Turning Red because I oh what
I forgot about Turning
oh
Red.
okay. I just
But
feel
go
like
on.
Turning Red is um, the thing that they thought Lightyear was gonna be. Like Lightyear, in my opinion, should have been dumped onto Disney Plus. I thought it
Yeah.
was like so like skippable, so just like whatever. But Turning Red, out of all the new Pixar films, I for sure think
It's been the strongest in a
should have
while.
been promoted more. Should have been released in theaters. Should have been.
It was
I don't
heavily
know.
promoted, but just for Disney Plus.
It was promoted after,
Yeah.
which kind of sucks. I think Turning Red would have been like what Pixar needed in the theater market for sure.
Yeah.
Because Lightyear was not
Not it.
there, not a good comeback.
So remember, I kind of cheated, but my next one I would put I kind of because I'll do these. So my next one I would do is I don't mean this by offense or anything racially wrong, but I do think is Netflix does have one of the greatest black cinema films in a while, and that is a list of a couple, and it starts off with The Five Bloods, Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, Malcolm and Marie, and my favorite film of last year, The Harder They Fall. Some of the greatest
Oh
recent
yeah,
black films, black cinema, where The only one that's very preachy about racial and social commentary and war is the Five Bloods, but that's a Spike Lee film. You can expect that. He's a poetic type of filmmaker. But if you put that coincide with Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, you have Chadwick Boseman kind of last couple films, and they are fantastic roles. And Ma Rainey, I could see why Ma Rainey kind of went into Netflix because it's a very stage play type of film. Same with Malcolm and Marie is a more film about love and about how hard love is, how hard relationship is. And my favorite answer to Django is The Harder They Fall. I think this is the movie I wish Django
That
and
was
Chain
great.
was. And honestly, these are four films that have had some of the best performances in a while. And I really do think it's a shame that in black cinema that we're getting the same fucking story. Sorry for cursing, but the same story. And it's nice to see something like these four specific film on Netflix. But I would have ran out to see Spike Lee because he does some great
Yeah,
cinematography. Ma Rainey would have been something more indie-ish, and same with Malcolm and Marie. But The Harder They Fall, I think would have been a big hit.
I'm
What's that
excited.
was on number three, right?
Yeah.
Okay, on number two.
Number two, um, so with streaming, there's a lot dumped out, so a lot is skipped over.
Yes.
This movie, I feel like I don't hear it talked about enough because it has two of the best performances. And even though I don't like Shia LaBeouf as a person, I think in this movie he gives a great performance in it, and that is Pieces of a Woman.
Okay.
Um, I remember watching this movie and being so emotional during it
Yeah.
because it's so beautiful. It's so the score I have it on my phone because it's so great. Um, the lead actress, I don't have her name, and it's gonna piss me off. I only know Shia LaBeouf's name because of Transformers, but
Yeah.
the lead actress,
Even
she,
Stevens.
dude, she kills in this movie. There's a scene, like I think it's like one take two of like her giving birth,
Mm-hmm.
like a water birth, and it's like it's horrifying. It's a scene that makes me like scared to ever like have kids,
Oh wow.
but it does a really good job at setting the tone, setting the mood,
Yeah.
and it just sucks because I wish more people would have talked about it, and I feel like if it would have been released, it would have been picked up and noticed more. I didn't. I felt like I never really heard anything about Pieces of a Woman,
I remember
and I
seeing
think
trailers
that's
of it, but I don't remember anything
yeah,
about it.
it's incredible,
I
dude.
never seen it.
I would for sure say to check it out.
I gotta see it
It's
now. My number two
sticks with you.
my number two is one that recently came out this year, and I was so surprised by it because I feel like we have not gotten one of these type of sports films that was uplifting, that was um, very uplifting, great performance, and it would if you're not a fan of the sport or even of the actor or actors, it made you just cheer for everything. And it's not like one movies where you're gonna cheer at the end because it's a big match or a big game. It's just cheering because they're gonna get the success that they want in life, and that is Adam Sandler's Hustle. I After everything on Netflix and everything from Adam Sandler, Hustle is a treat that I was like, damn it, this should have been one of the ones that should have been on cinemas. It would have. It,
Yeah.
it is funny and it's very heartwarming, but I mean, there is this fine line where Uncut Gems. We're both fans of Uncut Gems. I think Hustle is that fine line where it's serious but very emotional, and he's acting, but he's also having fun, and he's also like showing like, look, I have a lot of clout. I have a lot. I'm a big name. I could get anyone from not just movies and actor world. I could get anyone from basketball. That's how much I'm
Yeah.
a. It's literally his love. You could tell he loves basketball, and he respects it. He's showing his
Hmm.
love for the sport, and I would highly
Yeah.
recommend to anybody. It's an easy watch. It's very nicely shot. Um, Even when they do play basketball, there's some intense shots that I have not seen done with a basketball film in a while. What's your number
All right.
one?
So my number one pick. It was hard to choose between two
Mm-hmm.
because they're both about sound. But I do feel like one of them I'd rather sit in my room and watch by myself and start crying than watch the other one.
Yeah,
Well, they're both pretty sad. But my number one pick is Coda.
I forgot about
Coda,
that.
I think won Best Picture last year, but it was an Apple TV
Yeah,
film, came out, and just recently I got to check it out. Like I think like 2 months, 3 months ago,
mm-hmm.
and man, It's great. It's such a I could see it being such a crowd pleasing and fun. It's really like a comedy movie, but there's some really sad like family elements and great family drama in it that I think work really well.
Yeah.
Um, Man, I would have loved to see that in theaters. I think it would have been like I don't know. It's a great
Can
film.
I guess the other one on your number one?
Yeah, you know it.
A Sound of Music, a Metal, Sound of Metal.
Sound of
Yeah,
Sound of Metal. I love Sound of Metal. I think it's great.
yeah.
But man, I love watching it on my phone because when I cry, I can do it in my bed, and so no one can see me. Because that one's that one's pretty crazy. Plus, listening to that one with headphones on, like actual
Yeah.
just headphones on, which I did, uh, immerses you a lot more into it for sure.
I forgot about Sound of Metal, honestly. And that movie,
Yeah,
I remember when I watched it, I cried. It's very more, at least for me, it feels very personal because I am someone who, as I'm getting older, I'm losing my hearing. I mean, we all do, but anyone that knows my backstory, I grew up partially deaf, and at it, and every time I go get a hearing test, it's always worse results to the point where now in public I wear hearing aids for certain gatherings because I can't hear much, um, or I'll use my AirPods as a hearing aid. But it's very
the work.
personal to me, and I it's one of the movies where it's very personal. But I would anyone that really personally knows me, like girlfriend, future wife, or parents or sister, I wouldn't show them because I feel like they would feel too sad for me. So I treat that movie like my own personal little diary in a sense. And then essentially like me, I grew up as a very metal fan and a rock fan, and just
Oh yeah.
I appreciate when a movie shows rock or metal in as a depiction of just natural people and not just like Satanism or whatever. So number one
Yeah.
would be another film that I knew I wanted to pick a a film, um, and I
Yeah.
thought this movie I've gone to it many times, and I feel like people forgot who directed it and who comes out in it, and I think I was recent like satanic, weird cult film is one of the best ones besides Midsummer. And it's at one point it's a horror film and at another point it's a very action film, and that is Apostle with Dan
Also,
Stevens.
okay.
I love this film. I love the cinematography. It's Garrett no, not Garrett Evans. The guy who did The Raid, essentially the first
Oh,
Raid. He directed this film, and I feel like it went underneath the radar. And I think if they would have held off on it and released it now after The Northman, Midsummer, and Green Knight, I think it would have worked fine. Even though it's not a medieval time type of film, but it is a type of very small. Essentially, I'll tell you this: if anyone who's ever seen it, it's a lot like Resident Evil 4, where you're in this little village and there's some creepy stuff, and there's a lot of lore into this film, a lot of myth into this film, and it's a horror film, and it becomes a slasher, a cult, an action film, and I love this film, and I think it's very underrated.
oh, I haven't seen it.
No, I would and it's kind of long. It's like 2.5 hours. But if you love a mix of genre and you love type of films that isn't afraid of showing things, like
Yeah.
blood and guts, but also have a nice cinematography and have the sense of urge and kind of character plot driven, where you have a character that has like this type of nervous tick, but they explain why, and it's very like it's not against faith or religion, but it is something where it's very Um, if you're someone who's very like undecisive about their faith or their type of religion,
Yeah.
it is a hard film to watch because it is like a bunch of questions. But then again, it's a horror film, but it's one of the best looking ones in a while. But that's our underrated, and I think those are pretty good films.
Oh,
Um,
yeah. Yeah, we both said some. They're really good.
yeah, I think
They're
I picked
solid.
mostly
I'll look it up.
Netflix. I didn't realize I picked all Netflix.
I started doing my list and I
Yeah,
realized that a lot of them were Netflix,
yeah,
and I was like, oh my God. That's because I mean Netflix has become like quality over quantity at this point.
yeah.
Or I mean quantity over quality.
And I think that would be
They're
something
so
where we would talk about now overrated, where it is there. On my list, it is there a
you start
lot.
seeing it. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, everybody. We are Confined Space and on the Spiral Vision.
Spiral Vision.
Spiral Vision. It was a
Spiral
different name back
Media.
then.
Spiral. Don't copyright us.
I know,
All
right?
right.
Oh, I'm gonna get my lawyers on it.